Hey, I'm Shamar.
And I'm Andrew.
We're going to be doing a deep dive on all the connected DC animated movies and their cinematic universe.
Yes, I'm here to discuss the interconnected storylines and point out how jacked everybody is.
And I'm here to share deep comic book knowledge like Batman having his own sneaker line.
So check out yet another DC animated podcast.
Part of the Forgotten Entertainment family and coming soon wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week, we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course, our fellow podcasters. Check us out on the web at nomcastpod.com. Follow us on the socials at nomcastpod. And most importantly, listen and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. Hit that beat one time.
There, and welcome Nerdy Knights of the Well-Rounded Table to Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I'm Colleen McMillan, Jedi Master and Rebel Scum collaborator.
And I am Pirate Jedi, Anders Drew. But no matter what rank you carry, one thing will always remain constant. Much to learn, we still have. Someday I will get that in a Yoda voice. I will actually make the attempt.
Yes, do it. Do it. That'll be great. Well, there'll be another chance to do it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So this season on Bohemian Geek Studies, we're taking our detailed dorky dive into Star Wars Rebels. Today, we're diving into Season 4, Episodes 3 and 4, In the Name of the Rebellion, Parts 1 and 2.
We have done our absolute best to scramble our signature. We're avoiding spoilers for at least the rest of Season 4, but spoiler warning for anything Star Wars outside of Rebels Season 4.
Sorry, Rogue One people. Watch Rogue One if you have not.
Yes. But while I am at it, I will definitely throw in an adult content warning for the younglings.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We both know what's going to happen.
Yes. So without further ado, let's hop on board Saw's U-Wing because we don't have a choice. And we're going to explore our holocrons of knowledge. Colleen, let's punch it and open up that first holocron.
You got it. Heading into our first holocron, the Journal of the Wills. This is where we're going to go over the plot synopsis for the week. Picking up pretty much right where the previous episode left off, with the Ghost Crew on board the Gauntlet and arriving at Yavin 4. Yay! Nerds rejoice. Kanan, to Chopper's chagrin, hilarious, states the astromech will be getting an oil bath once they land. He stinks, y'all. Like, he needs a bath.
He's squeaking.
Yeah, he's squeaking just a little bit. The crew also wonders what exactly awaits them at this larger rebel base. They land and Sabine has a fun reunion with Zeb, but Hera isn't back yet. Red flags, folks. She soon arrives with a severely damaged squadron, who all seem really apologetic towards her, but Hera assures Wedge that if it were not for their actions, no one would have made it back alive.
Top-notch leadership moment, I gotta say, from her. Like, yes. Absolutely. They are so defeated in this moment, and she is so reassuring.
It's so cute. Well, and the pilots are all like babies. Like, they're all 19-year-old kids, so it's really good to have somebody be like, no, you actually did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Praise works really well. Let's keep going with that. Oh, Hera finally agrees to be, and it's really cute, but they're interrupted by Callus.
Out of his uniform, Callus.
Hot Callus to the show, who says that Mon Mothma needs to see them. During the briefing, another hottie, Bail Organa, says that the Imperials have a new relay station that thwarted the mission. So they had bad intel because of this relay station, which has been alerted to them. You know, Saw Gerrera, he told them that it was going to happen, and they kind of were like, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, it's just Saw. What does Saw know? Rex and Callus are both angry that Saw, with his brutal tactics, is able to get more reliable intelligence than they are. That's just how it goes sometimes. Callus has the idea to tap into the relay station instead of it destroying it, so they can spy on Imperial communications, which Hera states the Ghost can handle.
They don't call it the Ghost for nothing.
That's right. It's perfection. We love it. The briefing ends with Ezra being very disappointed that Mon Mothma is not willing to recommit the resources to an attack on Lothal.
Yeah, I'm kind of with her on this one, but at the same time, I'm like, ugh. God, can we just do something?
Yes.
We do something, please.
Yeah, we need to do something.
You already promised you would.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Ezra's obviously frustrated, and outside he and Kanan have like a nice little moment where Kanan reminds him, little to Ezra's frustration, that it's how you choose to fight that truly matters.
Yeah.
But before they can really get into it, a hologram of Saw appears, and he is just straight up taunting Mon Mothma. He is absolutely degrading her leadership style of attempting a diplomatic solution, moving very cautiously, very slowly, very deliberately, while kind of touting his own tactics, which we've seen do get results.
Yeah.
But they're focused on very different things. And Mon Mothma actually loses her temper kind of for the first time we've ever seen her raise her voice.
Yes, for real. She gets like passionate over this freaking Wizard of Oz head in the sky. Like, she's wow.
Yeah. And he's like, ha, I knew you could do it. Now bring that to the fight.
And she's like, oh, fuck you, Saw.
Yeah, Saw just, fuck right off sometimes. But anyway, we cut to the ghosts approaching the relay station. They're on the mission. Ezra, Sabine, and Chopper are dispatched down to patch in. Predictably, this plan goes horribly, horribly wrong. And they are in a firefight and they're forced to try and blow up the relay, like some of them kind of wanted to begin with. Hera even admits that, like, tapping in, it might be useful, but it's not going to hurt them. Like, what the fuck? But this, of course, also doesn't go as planned. A Star Destroyer shows up, and the Ghost has to deal with a couple of TIE defenders, leaving Ezra and Sabine to kind of fend for themselves. But none other than Saw Gerrera appears in his U-Wing and manages to pull them out. Unfortunately, another Star Destroyer shows up, and they can't rendezvous with the Ghost, so Ezra and Sabine and Chopper are forced to go with Saw, who he then, quote-unquote, recruits to help him with his own mission that he's got.
Gives them the recruitment speech well.
And then they're just like, we don't have a choice, do we? No, not really. So Saw's been tracking these rumors and whispers ever since their time on Geonosis, and has located this cargo freighter with something very important on it. Not sure what it is, but he knows that the Empire has been kind of secretly moving this cargo. They get on a cargo station, hide in a cargo container in order to get on board the freighter, and Chopper gets a very nice yellow paint job.
Cute. So cute. Yeah, they know how to hide in freighters. Like they've done this
we've done this.
Times. Sneaking around the ship, Ezra hears something singing. Interesting. And they discover a container full of prisoners. Saw isn't convinced that this is what he was looking for, as the Empire has prisoners everywhere. Like, for real, they do. Yeah. One of the prisoners mentions he heard the troopers discussing the Jeddah system. Ding, ding. And newly arriving troopers force a firefight.
I was actually kind of impressed here that Saw used stunners.
Yes, I was too.
I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, did I see that right?
I was really shocked until I was like, maybe he has it on stun because he already knows he's going to have to stun Ezra and Sabine. So that's just what it's set at. And he's like, ah, shit, I forgot to flip it back to lethal. Oh my gosh, it's too much. Ezra and Sabine are focused on stopping the ship and rescuing the prisoners, which, yes, this is what you should be doing. But Saw still wants to know what the secret cargo is. Ezra tells Chopper to get the prisoners, who are all mechanics and engineers, to the escape pods while they disable the hyperdrive. On the way to the engines, Ezra hears the mysterious song calling to him again. They follow it to another cargo hold stuffed with death troopers, like the black suited dudes. This is not good. Sabine's smoke grenades give the rebels an edge, but they compromise the cargo's container. Whoopsies, causing the giant, this thing is huge, everyone, kyber crystal inside to melt through like its containment. Like, oh shit, this is not gonna go well.
Even the death troopers are like, nope, we are out.
Yeah, they're like, we out, guys. Like, we're supposed to protect this, but I don't think that's a good idea. Saw guesses that the Empire can only be using a crystal this big for some sort of super weapon. Ding, ding. Saw, you are correct about things, just not going about it the right way. They all agree that they can't let the Empire get their hands on this thing. But, Saw has some additional ideas.
So the Imperials, now knowing that rebels are on this freighter, they purge the escape pods to prevent an escape, which Chopper has to then kind of open the escape pod that he just closed with the prisoners on it and be like, nope, follow me back to the cargo.
Get out. Like, this is a terrible rescue.
It's a terrible rescue. Jesus.
It's fair.
Also with like a total engineer tone, like that kind of flat, like very
This is a
logical
terrible
solution to
Rouse
the
hater.
problem.
Mhm. We are still prisoners. I love that guy. He's so great. Oh my God.
Anyway, back in the engines, before they can disable the engines, Saw stuns Ezra and Sabine because
Mhm.
he has come way too far to not follow this through to the end. So no matter what, he wants to know where this crystal was headed,
Mhm.
thinking that it's got to be going to its final destination,
Mhm.
which they kind of tell him, dude, we don't know that. Unfortunately, turns out that that is absolutely nowhere. All they're doing is rendezvousing with another big Star Destroyer. So Saw, agreeing that they definitely can't let the Empire have their hands on this, sets the crystal to basically overload
Yeah.
and explode. He tries to take Ezra and Sabine with him, but they are still saying, no, we have to stay here and free these prisoners. So he Saw just straight up pieces out. He's like, all right, bye. Also locks them in the room. Like, he's like, I hope you guys make it out. By the way, I'm locking the door. The two of them, they manage to get to Chopper and they get the prisoners to a shuttle. And that little droid absolutely, Chopper murks these troopers.
It's
Like,
great.
it is like the most savage thing I think we've seen him do. He electrocutes one of them and then he does the arms with like the twirly, twirly
Yep,
thing
it's
and just like beats the other
wonderful.
one across the face.
Yeah, they're in tough shape.
It's really rough. But they all do manage to get away. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to jump to hyperspace fast enough to avoid this crystal's blast because it is going to explode. So Sabine manages to get them on the other side of the Star Destroyer, which the Star Destroyer is then completely blown to bits when the crystal explodes. Thankfully, the shuttle's just kind of disabled. It got kind of just a little energy wave, almost like an EMP, shut down the electronics. But they're able to hold out until the ghost picks them up. And all of these prisoners agree that they are going to join the rebellion,
Which is great.
which is really nice.
Yay.
Kanan is still really disturbed, though, that the Empire's got this strong interest in kyber crystals and really he also wants to know what they're doing with these.
Yes. This is key. Like something that big.
Something that big. And this isn't the first time that they've intercepted a kyber crystal.
Yep, something nefarious is going on.
Yes, I wonder what it could be. Anyway, Colleen, let's move into our next holocron, the Will of the Force. This is where we get into the theme or themes from today's episodes.
Yes. Okay, so our theme for this week is short-term versus long-term gains. Mon Mothma is, as always, regrettably or not regrettably, focused on the sometimes too much larger picture. Yes, they might be able to help Lothal, but what about thousands of other planets? Like she names Chandrilla her home planet. She actually names Onderon, which is Saw Gerrera's home planet, which is like, oh, that's interesting. The rebellion is dealing with very minimal resources at this point. So they have to focus on what can do the most long-term good, which is very understandable, but also I know why Ezra's so frustrated. Like it makes complete sense. But then when Mon Mothma's like, yeah, my planet's in trouble too, dude, and I can't just allocate all the resources to save my home world, which is a good thing we get from her. Like we finally see where she's coming from, but it's really hard for someone like Ezra to understand that.
Right.
Because he's not at her level of authority. So
and
he's
been traveling a lot with the ghost, but he still doesn't have nearly her level of experience. I mean, she's been in the Senate. She literally has stood in a room with representatives of all of these thousands of systems.
Yep.
And his view is still very minimal of the galaxy.
Right. It needs to expand a little bit. Which, unfortunately, Saw. He's focused on the immediate results. He lost his world, so he's really has nothing else to lose here anymore. Yeah. He just wants to get results. Usually,
he's lost Jin by this point too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, poor Jin. He has like no thought about what this does to his humanity. Like he doesn't care anymore. It's just gone. Dave Filoni actually said in the Rebels Recon that this is a Saw who, if Steela had lived, he probably would have been much different. But because she died, this is who he became.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's so sad to think that Saw could have been something else. But He's important also to the rebellion for various reasons, like rescuing Jin. He did that. He has done some good things. It's just in these episodes we're kind of like, ugh, ugh. And sometimes when you torture people, you know, you don't get the information that's actually correct.
Yeah, in fact, most of the time.
Yep, it's been proven that torture and coercion usually do not work very well because people will say whatever you want them to say when you torture them.
Yes.
Hera sums it up really well. She says, like, destroy the relay would be like, fine, but the Empire will just build another one and like hijack it instead. So you can be a step ahead of them, even if it's only a small step. Saw doesn't think this way. He's like, nah, just blow it up.
He's like, that's the Empire. Empire bad.
Yep, he's a true terrorist
Mm-hmm.
at this point. He's no longer like a freedom fighter.
Yeah, speaking of the fight, tapping into our series theme here, Ezra and Kanan have that moment where it truly comes down to the way we fight. And how we choose to fight matters more than the fact that we have in fact chosen to fight. These characters are all dealing with dishing out some pain. They want to reciprocate to the Empire what it's cost them. Ezra wants to free his homeworld. He had the opportunity, and Thrawn at the end of season 3 snatched it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But doing all of that would in fact compromise who they are and what they're actually fighting for. I mean, if you're willing to use the Empire's tactics, torture, coercion, trying to achieve your ends through fear, then why are you even doing this?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
Saw at this point, he's truly kind of reached a point of no return when he chooses to stun Ezra and Sabine to leave the hostages behind.
Yeah, that's rough.
Like they say, when you're willing to shoot the hostage, well, he's willing to blow them up.
Yeah. Oh God, speed. I'm having speed flashbacks. Shoot the hostage. I can't believe you shot me.
And it was a through and through. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Instead of trying to rescue him, instead of trying to do the human thing, and just leave them all behind with a very unstable Kyber crystal.
Yeah, no kidding. And Chopper, like, it's just like, fuck them droids, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't really like droids that much anyway.
That's fair.
He never really did.
No. I mean, look what happened to Onderon. Like, I don't trust droids either. Okay, I think we're ready to head into our third holocron, which is the galaxy's populace. For this holocron, we'll be exploring the characters and relationships covered in today's episodes. Not quite as much because we're still kind of on the same journey, but we do want to cover a few things. We have first Saw Gerrera, our boy. He's totally that uncle that your dad warns you about at holiday get-togethers. But he just seems so cool. Like he's got a leather jacket. He maybe have a motorcycle. He's got like a scar on his eye.
Yeah.
He's just cool. Until they get you tied up in the back alley of a drug deal that's gone horribly wrong. This reminds me of Max or Miles Morales' uncle too.
Yes.
Like this is the cool uncle who is also into some shady shit. That's definitely what Saw is to Ezra and Sabine. Like Sabine goes along with stuff too at first, and then she's like, "Ah, shit! They warned us about this." It's all right. Saw basically comes in like laughing, swaggering, kind of Hondo-ish, but Hondo is actually kind of a better bad uncle than Saw is, which is kind of wild to say. And he does rescue Ezra and Sabine, but then he shows his true colors, like you said, when he's willing to sacrifice them and the prisoners in like to try and reach his short-term goals. And Hondo would probably do the same, but for different reasons, although it's already been proven that Hondo would also help. So
yeah, Hondo would also help, but Hondo wouldn't
kill people.
He wouldn't stun them. He would leave them behind. But he would not set the thing to explode and then run. He would run first.
Yeah, he would run
and be like, you guys got this, right? Cool.
Yeah, he'd be out of there. He would already have been out there. Let's face it. This Saw is very close to the one who we meet in Rogue One. He's got that bigger scar on his face. His hair is the same that it is in Rogue One. And his mind is just falling further into the extremism. Like he's basically at his breaking point now. The scientists mentioned that the Imperials were talking about the Jedha system. which is where Saw ends up in Rogue One. So this is probably the thing that gets Saw's mind turning about going to Jeddah, which is another interesting little link. I'm like, good job, Rebels team. You guys are doing great. So great. And then we have Kanan and Hera. God, I love them so much. They're just so perfect in season 4. It's so good. These two are so in sync. They're navigating that fog. That scene is so great. I love it. And Hera is like this tenderness and lack of panic in her voice when she says, I must really trust you.
It really jumped out at me. Like, you would think it's like kind of like a worried, almost sarcastic thing, but it's not. It's this. It's full of love. She does.
She does trust him. Like, I love it so much. Their relationship is so cute. Their connection is like really subtle for most of Rebels, which it's a kid's show, so an adult relationship probably wouldn't like grab the kids' attention. But for us adults watching, we're like, yeah, get after it, Kanan and Hera. This is great. It's just nice to see them working together like this. I am glad that Zeb was not in the cockpit during the scene, because he would have been like, no. I don't know, because Kanan, he would have been like, Kanan is blind. Let's not do this. Oh my gosh. Kanan makes another kind of blind joke where he's like, I don't have to see you to know.
Yeah.
You're troubled. I'm like, Kanan, stop with this. But super cute. Love them together. Keep it up, you two.
Yep. And then lastly, we have a little focus on Ezra here. He's shown some character growth, because we talked about Hondo a little bit earlier. Ezra is more cautious of Saw here than he was kind of on Geonosis, than he usually is when Honda's around. He's willing to go along with him, but you could tell he doesn't fully trust Saw while they're going. He's still tempted by the methods at first, though. He's still easier to kind of get to in that way, because he does want some immediate results. He wants to inflict some pain, which allows him to be kind of taken in, but he is still much faster to be like, no, we have to do what's right.
Thank God.
Yes. I mean, he wants to blow up the relay station from the beginning. And afterwards, when they do in fact do it, he's kind of more annoyed by the fact that they disobeyed orders than that they had to change the plan.
Right.
It's like, God, I liked it, but we're going to get a dressing down because we disobeyed orders. But when it comes down to it, he makes the right choice, and he says, no, we're rescuing these people, which is good. I also just want to shout out his not one but two like super awkward waves when they get spotted first on the dish.
Ian's like, stop it.
And then the second one, she even is just like, oh God, yeah, I may as well too.
Yeah, I'm like, Mom and Dad are gonna be so mad at us. Until they bring back like a bunch of prisoners who will then help them. Like that's
yes, who have also
like,
been in the Empire's like employ for the last little while, so have some intel probably.
Hopefully. Yeah, they don't know what they're going to be working on, but they know that something is up.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's move into the fourth holocron. This is Binding the Galaxy Together, where we go through the homages and Easter eggs throughout these episodes. And let's start off with Chopper's impending oil bath. He may be seeming like a teenage boy who doesn't want to take a shower. I have a tween nephew who this is all too real fun. Jeez.
Yeah. So many are just like, why do I have to? Like, because you fucking smell.
Yeah.
You've hit puberty. It's time. Like, sorry. Yeah.
But C-3PO definitely wanted an oil bath, and that was a large oil bathtub, I gotta say, that he was lowered into when he was bought by the Lars family back in A New Hope.
That's like in Clone Wars too, where he goes to like the spa, the droid spa. Where they all get like oil baths and stuff.
Oil baths and like the buffer.
Swanky.
Yeah.
They come out all shiny and new. Yes, Chop, you need it really badly. Next, we have Mon Mothma mentioning her home planet of Chandrilla, which is a lot like Alderaan, actually, which is probably why her and Bail Organa get along so well. It's a core world that is very well off and quite beautiful. It's actually one of the planets chosen by Palpatine to be destroyed by the Death Star. He's trying to crush the rebellion through sheer terror. Probably would have worked if he'd kept the Death Star going. Chandrilla did become the capital of the New Republic after the war, though it wasn't permanent. They decided to keep moving the capital after like a vote of where it should go. That's why it's on Hosnian Prime in the sequel trilogy.
Yes. Well, part of the sequel trilogy.
Part of the sequel.
Part of one of the movies in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough look for poor Hosnian Prime. So.
Next up, we have our landing finally at the base of Yavin 4. The fourth moon of the planet Yavin is important both in canon and in Legends. In Legends, Luke establishes his Jedi Academy on Yavin 4 after the war is over. The moon is home to the Great Temple, which was built about 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin to the now extinct Masasi. I think that's how you say it, people.
Yeah.
It's where in canon it is where Poe Dameron spent his childhood.
Yep, with his mom. So cool. Yeah, the Masasi group's name comes from this ancient people who were actually slaves under the Sith, which is not great. So this is another place that's been touched by both the Jedi and the Sith. Very tough look for the Sith, making the entire people extinct. I'm not shocked. Not shocked at all. Next, we have Saw's U-Wing. Rather than the blue and white paint job that the main rebellion uses, Saw's ship has black and white color scheme typical of his partisan group. The U-Wing isn't really a common ship in the films, like you don't see it super often, but its main uses are troop support and transport. You see this in Rogue One. It's most prominently featured, though, in the Alphabet Squadron novels, piloted by the very mysterious Kairos. I love her and her piloting the U-Wing. She's never talks. She's just always like their support. And they're like, "Are you there?" And they never hear her answer. She's just there. So great. Everyone read the Alphabet Squadron books.
It's on my list. It's just got to wait. And it's probably got to wait until like December or something like that. All right. Too much other stuff coming up.
We got Ronan coming up. Yeah.
We got Ronan. We got Thrawn. We got the final Expanse novel. It's all coming up soon. Some New High Republic. I think the last Queen's book comes out. Or so many books coming out. All right. Next up, you may recognize Saw's co-pilot. His name is Edrio Two Tubes.
Two Tubes.
He is a Tognath, and he can be seen in Rogue One as one of Saw's partisans. He's called Two Tubes because of his two breather tubes he needs in order to be able to breathe in atmosphere outside of his home planet. He joined Saw's group after his home planet was taken over by the Empire. He also appears in the mini comic Crossing the Line, which features in the Star Wars Rebels animation magazine #4.
He's an interesting guy. I wish we got more of him because he does die with Saw on Jedha in Rogue One. It's like, I wish we got more of him. He seems really cool. Next, we have the Kyber Crystal of Doom and Geonosis. Calling back to the rumors and whispers that we saw back on the episode's Ghost of Geonosis, this is again a reference to the impending Death Star without ever actually having to say the name. Like, they just keep going. They're so close. So close.
So close. But I mean, really, who's watching this that hasn't actually seen it, that doesn't know what it is?
Right. We would hope.
Yes. Next up, we mentioned it before, it is the Jedha system. It is known to be a major source of Kyber. It's one of the planets that is in the running to potentially be the oldest Jedi temple in the galaxy. And it's where the secret cargo has come. Jedha City is ultimately destroyed by the Death Star in Rogue One, taking one of the most important Jedi temples with it, along with several of the Guardians of the Wills.
Yes, so many of them. Probably all of them, actually. I mean, there are a couple mentioned in other novels, like the Aftermath novels mention Guardians of the Wills, but I'm guessing a lot of them are killed.
Lars San Tekka is not one of them, right? He's like a follower. He's a
follower of one of the other religions. Like, he probably knows about the Guardians of the Wills, but yeah, poor guys. Poor Jedha City. Good Lord, the fucking Empire sucks. All right, speaking of sucks, next we have Director Krennic. The Rogue One Weasel gets a shout out when the troopers are informing their superiors that the cargo is in danger. Another tie to the Death Star, Project Stardust, Rogue One, the Thrawn novels, like, just, it's all in there.
It's all coming together. And then we have, in his final appearance, Commander Braun Titus is back. Ezra's semi-nemesis is finally killed when the Jalendi station explosion takes out the ship. And Ezra has that amazing moment where he is on the relay station and he's like, "This is Braun Titus." And Titus is like, "Really? Because this is Braun Titus.
I am Commander Braun Titus." finally gets taken out, especially by this kid who he's been taken out by Ezra twice now, and this is the third time. Third time's the charm. Sorry, Brontitus. Rest in relative peace, I guess.
I do. No,
Yeah, you're part of the Empire, so we don't feel too bad for you.
No.
And last but not least, we have the prisoners. These scientists are all like engineers and technicians. They're taken against their will by the Empire, shocking, to work on the Death Star. Their leader is Mitch Matt. I love him. I wish we got way more of him. He's a Ishi Tib. He's very surly. He isn't really impressed with the rescue efforts, which is
I was wondering if this counts as an Easter egg with his like going back to Leia being like, this is some rescue on the Death Star.
Rescue. Totally Leia's attitude here, although he's less self-sufficient than Leia is.
Very much so.
It's great. I still love his character. He's really funny and he really pops on screen. He's a great counterpart to Chopper because somebody's finally sassing Chopper and Chopper's like, what the fuck? Like,
if they ever did like a from a certain point of view, he'd get a story.
Yes, please give it to us. The whole chapter would just be him being like, and then these rebels showed up.
What are they doing? Why are they telling us to go somewhere else?
Right. Like, this is the worst rescue of all time. I love it so much. His character name is a reference to, I'm going to totally butcher this poor guy's last name, Matt Mishovitz, who wrote episodes for both Clone Wars and Rebels.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Lots of character name references from Star Wars people.
Definitely. All right. Well, before we move into our next holocron, take a quick break to hear from this week's sponsors. Do you need a freelancer to help you out with your website, maybe a designer, or someone to help you write some expert and articles and blogs, or a presentation designer to help you with the big work project? Look no further than the #1 freelance marketplace, Fiverr. You can find designers, programmers, and more within seconds, some for as low as just $5 a gig. Fiverr is the ideal tool to help you with your pressing projects. Just post your gig or search for some freelancers and you're off. Don't deal with the hassle of finding freelancers by yourself. Let Fiverr help you. See the link in our show notes to get started. Please note, Bohemian Geek Studies is an affiliate partner of Fiverr. We may receive commissions on purchases and services you buy after you click that link. These commissions help support the growth of BGS, and we appreciate your continued support.
And now, everybody, we're going to head into our 5th holocron, the newbie from Naboo. This is Flo's first time watching Rebels. We've tasked her with, watching the episodes, giving us her takes and her questions. I think we're going to have a little adult content very shortly. So let's find out what our ambassador for Naboo thought about today's episodes.
Hey!
What up, Flo?
I know, it feels like I haven't seen you guys in like a trillion years. Sorry, everybody. We've been
busy.
Slacking.
Not slacking. We've been very busy.
Yeah, we've been living life. So sorry about living, I guess. Okay, but I actually really liked both of these episodes. Really just like one episode. But anyways.
Episode.
Yeah, one Mondo super intense episode. I actually watched the first episode at school today during my lunch break because life.
Yes.
And I took these like amazing notes and I will send a picture of them, but then I left them at school. So
poor Flo. I just
So I'm going off of my memory of the episode, and I guess I'm just gonna hit on the things that like hit me big enough that like they're in my memory.
Yeah.
So we kick off with them, our little ghost crew heading to Yavin 4, which is like already you're like, this is legit. Here we go. So that was super exciting. And immediately Kanan goes like super dad and is like, Chopper, you're getting a bath. Yes. Chopper's like, Dad, no. So that was so cute. I feel like Chopper in these 2 episodes is like super animated, and I feel like we haven't had super animated Chopper in a while. And so it feels like excited to see so much personality from him again. So that was really great. So they land and immediately we see Zeb, and like as soon as I saw Zeb, I was like, I have not seen Zeb in ages.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, Zeb, I missed you, and I can't believe I'm saying that for how much I hated you in the first season. So that was so great. I feel like he has mellowed so much.
I wonder why.
It's love. We're gonna get to love in just a second, but we see so Hera is coming in. She's coming in way too hot with Wedge. Hello, Wedge. How are you?
Hi, Wedge.
Hey, Wedge. Such a solid start. So Hera's like coming in super, super hot. Like you can tell that Kanan is worried, but he's like trying not to let it show too much because Ezra is also super worried.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So finally she lands and she like such like the sweetest like little airport reunion. She's like, Kanan, and like you guys are all here, and like Sabine, you're here, and it was like so sweet. And then like immediately after this we see this lumberjack looking home skillet, Agent Callus, with the full makeover. I can quote this exactly from my notes because it's stuck in my memory. He looks like a property brother.
Yes.
And I can't. Like, I swear, he's like wearing like a quilted vest. And he's got like, he looks exactly like a property brother. Like, he looks like he just came out of HGTV. Anders, am I right? Are you pulling up a comparison picture right now?
I am not, but so
Well, you should.
a few weeks. So a few. I am aware of who you're talking about. So just so everybody knows, a few weeks ago was Flo's birthday.
Oh yes, it was.
And my present to her was that I actually photoshopped Agent Callus into a picture with her.
Yeah.
And I was actually like really disappointed that we weren't at this point yet, because I was like, Flo is gonna lose her freaking mind when she sees like Rebel Callus. But I didn't want to spoil it.
Okay, so
I had to use like Imperial uniform.
He is hot, but I'm not gonna lie, like I'm just pulling up a picture of the Property Brothers right now, and I'm like, my comparison stands hard. We can make a side by side for sure. We'll make a side by side for you, everybody. I honestly think that I might like Imperial Callus more.
Interesting.
Disheveled Imperial Callus.
Well, definitely like on your knees, bloody Imperial Callus is my top. But like, I feel like there's something about the uniform and just like that it was like so covert. I was just like, yes. But he does look really hot. I actually like this facial hair better, I think. It's more like full instead of just like weird.
Yeah.
So I like that. See, I feel like the hair lightened, and I'm not sure that I like it.
You want him a little darker in the hair.
Yeah, I
He's
think
getting
so.
more sun.
Well, I mean, Yavin 4 seems to be getting more sun than the deep space that our dude's been in. But
poor buddy.
So anyways, it was very surprising to see him there with everybody because I feel like we haven't really seen him with the crew. But yeah, I mean, some quality time on Yavin 4 with Zeb, so quality stuff. And then he's like, okay, let me take you to Mon Mothma. And immediately I was like, fuck, Mon Mothma, oh my God. And she's like just as like wispy and annoying as ever. I'm just like, stop it. And so we get Bail Organa, and like Bail Organa is Bail Organa. Like Bail Organa is never changing. He's just like stoic, calm, smart, whatever. But Mon Mothma is like the weird aunt that's like really into crystals. It's like, stop it.
We called Saw Gerrera the uncle that you shouldn't be around earlier in the episode, so now we have the aunt with the weird crystals.
Yes, okay, we'll get to Saw Gerrera, but like Saw Gerrera is the guy who marries Mon Mothma, and then they have like really weird kids who like all live in a trailer. It's like, no, I
family
can't.
compound.
Yes, they're like crystals, and then they like also stockpile weapons. They're like, I know what they are. They're a combination. They are doomsday preppers.
Oh yeah,
they would be such a doomsday prepper family. Anyways, all this to say, I can't stand Mon Mothma, and if I could fast forward all of her scenes, I would. So right away we see there's like this big rift between Saw and our rebels, just because like while they're all trying to get to the same goal, there's a million different ways to get there, and Saw's way is not their way. But Ezra is like, what is happening with Lothal? And Mon Mothma is kind of like, well, we don't really know where to start because there's so many systems, blah, blah, blah. And Ezra is like, I get it, but also like, this is fucked. So basically like Mon Mothma's plan is like, let's not help anybody because we can't help everybody.
Not yet, yeah.
And Ezra is like, this is
Suck.
like, this feels like doing nothing.
hmm
Like
And,
you're
like-
treading water.
Exactly. And I get both sides of this. Like,
Yeah.
you want to be measured and like you want to make the right decisions, even if it means like sacrificing, one or two worlds at this point. But like for Ezra, that's everything.
It is.
So it's like heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And like immediately you see Ezra kind of like inching towards the Saw Gerrera way. He's like, but he's doing something, and like we're doing jack shit.
Mhm.
So then Ezra and Kanan have this like lovely meditation.
You're so cute. I can feel you. You're really annoying me.
Oh my
right
gosh,
now.
it was so cute. He's like, sit, like ground yourself, or like center yourself. I forget how he says it. And it's like, honestly, I don't think we've ever seen people talk about feelings in Star Wars more than Ezra and Kanan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's so lovely. And
love
they've been
that.
so calm with each other lately. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like all the craziness of the
Maul's gone. That's
Well,
how
Maul's
cool.
gone,
Maul's-
right? And I feel like the holocrons were like a real issue for them. And then since
Mhm.
those are kind of out of the picture, they've been so much chiller with each other.
Mhm.
So it's just been so nice. So they decide that they're gonna go and like take over this satellite dish,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna like patch
Yeah.
in so they can get info,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so they get onto the satellite dish. Ezra with his like jetpack on his back. Now he's obsessed with the jetpack. I can't with Ezra. So they come in way too hot. They're like sliding down this dish, and then we get the sexual tension of Ezra saving Sabine, holding out his hand, grabbing her. Chef's kiss, perfect moment, loved it. And then nobody helps Chop. Chop just like smacks into the dish. I swear, I thought they were gonna do like a pancake cartoon thing where it was like he was just flattened. It was wild shit. So they get there. Chop ends up like tapping into the thing, but it's like the wrong thing.
Mhm.
And then they're like, then Ezra pretends to be the guy who it actually is.
Bronchitis.
Oh my God. And like the thing is, like, you saw it coming, right? Like you knew as soon as he said a name that was going to be the name of the person on the other end.
Yeah.
But it was so funny and it played so well. And Ezra was like, well, just our luck, I guess. Too bad. So that was really funny. And then the ghost crew is like pretty worried about them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then who saves them? Saw Gerrera. Saw
Yep.
Gerrera shows up. He blows up the dish with a bunch of explosives and he grabs the kids and goes.
Yeah.
He ends up like calling Hera's cell phone
Yeah.
and it's just like, hey, I've got your kids, just FYI. And she's like, well, give me my kids back. And he's like, no, I kidnapped them. Okay,
No, bye.
bye. They're
Sorry,
kidnapped
Popo's
now.
on my tail. Gotta run.
Yep. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Oh my gosh. What about the wave?
Oh my God.
Ezra had the wave.
Ezra's sitting on the edge of the dish, knowing that the Imperial forces can see him. The awkward smile on his fucking face. Oh my God. And Sabine is like, stop it. Like you
Yeah,
can see she's just like, shut the fuck up. So anyways, I actually really liked this first part of the episode. And I like the first part more than I like the second part.
Mhm.
But we're going to get into the second part now. I felt like the
Mhm.
second part was a little bit too much Saw Gerrera.
It's a lot of Saw.
It was a lot. And Saw is just kind of a lot.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, I can't decide where I stand with Saw. and that's
It's very
really hard.
divisive.
He is. And like, the thing is, I can't disagree with him too much on his methods because it's not like the Empire pulls punches,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's like, I see where he's coming from, where it's like, he said a lot in this episode, specifically to Mon Mothma. He was like, okay, so are you just gonna like pat yourself on the back because you've like played their war, you know,
Right.
or something like that, where it's just like, okay, so you played according to the rules. Like that
You're
doesn't
dead.
get you any like extra special medals or anything. It's like
No.
you have to win. And
But how you win matters.
how
Yeah,
you win
frickin-
matters. I
frickin'
get
Yoda's
that.
ears are perking up all over the place. He's on
Yeah.
Dagobah like, what?
Totally. But at the same time, like, is he wrong? Like,
That's the
history is written
dilemma.
by the victors. And so it's like, yeah, like it's pretty fucked up, but like war is kind of fucked up. So
he's like the guerrilla warfare versus like the regimented imperial warfare.
Yes.
Like the way you're supposed to fight war. But even like the Empire is not fighting a war that is regimented. They're not.
No, and they're not fighting fair. And like
they're not even really fighting a war at this point. They are
they're
trying to
annihilating
exterminate
worlds.
bugs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I can't blame Saul. He's lost everything. And he's got nothing left to lose, honestly. Like so anyways. So then we get to part 2. Sabine and Ezra and Chop are kidnapped by Saul. He gives this whole like you've got to take control of your destiny speech, which is fair. Like you do have to take control of your destiny and it's in your own hands and you make your choices. He like is pretty harsh with Ezra. He's like, well, you can side with me or you can keep, this is literally said, running Mon Mothma's errands. And it's like, that's harsh, my dude. Because like Ezra and Sabine have been busting their ass.
Yes.
Like it may not seem like much and it may not like amount to like the payoff that Saw's looking for, but they have been working. And so to reduce them to like errand kids is like, that's
rude.
Not really fair.
No.
He
then
fights
Sabine, dirty.
Yeah, he does. And he's very like psychologically manipulative.
Yes. Very adept at that.
Yeah. So anyways, again, I'm not sure how I feel about him. I'm still feeling it out. We get Yellow Chopper. Can we talk about Yellow Chopper?
He looks great.
He looks fantastic.
He looks amazing.
I still prefer Black Chopper. That's my favorite.
Yes.
Okay, so here's
Imperial
my question.
Chopper.
I was actually thinking about this and the Black Chopper while Yellow Chopper was happening. Does she go over it every time? Like when he goes back to Orange, is she like re-spray painting him? Does she have to like strip him?
I'm gonna guess she strips him to get back to Orange.
Yeah, probably
like
another oil
once they have a hot second, like she just strips down and
because or else there'd be like this many layers of paint on him. Like it'd be thick.
He goes in the sonic shower to get the paint off him.
Anyways, he looks amazing in yellow. He looks like a little race car.
Yeah,
I'm super into it. He looked sharp and he looked cleaner.
Yeah.
Like I really liked it. I mean, literally, guys, I have a problem. Every time they mention Corellia, I literally cannot help myself and I just scream living a Corellian dream. And it is a problem. Like I have a problem. So anyways, they mentioned Corellia and I had nearly lost my mind. So I had to write Corellia in my notes. So they head to the Taunus sector, right? Which is like middle of nowhere, like buttfuck space.
Yeah.
And this was all like kind of confusing. They were like in a cargo freighter.
Yep. They're in the freighter that's trying to take the Kyber crystal to the Star Destroyer.
Death Star, yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually it's supposed to be used for the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what I figured. I just felt like the exposition was not great in this episode.
Yeah, like they went from like Saw's ship to a cargo station where they jumped into the box to get on the freighter, which was then going to the place. It was a very convoluted
route.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. I liked when Saw looks at Ezra and he goes, "You got a plan?" Because there's stormtroopers. And he goes, "I got a droid." It's like, yeah, that pretty much sums up all of Star Wars, especially Rebels. It's like, I don't have a plan, but I've got Chop, who's a murderer. So enjoy.
Yeah, Chop is a cold-blooded killer. So we're going to be fine.
Exactly. So then they open up a box and there's prisoners in there. And at first I thought this was going to be like sort of like a human trafficking situation. No, it turned out like they're reactor mechanics. Who obviously like were going to be used for the Death Star, I assume. Spoiler for the end, they end up joining the Rebel Alliance, which is really great because like we need skilled workers.
Yeah, they got to get on that factory.
Exactly.
Yes. Here's our workers flow. We finally have workers.
Now
honestly,
we need a location.
I predicted this.
Now we need a location because Avalon is fucked.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, Corellia. They're in a Corellian dream. Okay. Anyways, Ezra was very sweet in this episode. He was very concerned about the citizens or the civilians. Saw was just like, fuck them. And Ezra's like, no, that's not how this works. I loved when he put them back in the box and goes, pretend you're still prisoners. And the guy's like,
We are.
We are still prisoners. He's one of my favorites. I love him.
Yeah. Also, like, one of those guys definitely just looked like the Grinch. Did anybody else catch that?
Which was that the main guy that was?
I don't know. The hairy green guy. He looks exactly like the Grinch.
Probably the main prisoner guy who
Yeah,
was
I
like,
think it was the main guy that they talked to at first.
yeah.
Anyways, he looked like the Grinch, and I just kept seeing Jim Carrey, so it was distracting. So then Chop is like kind of in charge of evacuating the prisoners, which is like, who put Chop in charge of this? And one of the prisoners goes, "You're a kind little droid," and we're all just like, "Nope, definitely not.
No.
Wrong read.
Not at all.
Wrong read on this guy.
Absolutely.
As Chop's like, yep.
Yeah, Chop's like,
It's like,
yeah, for
finally,
sure.
somebody gets me.
For sure. Okay, so then they end up at this like hangar / like loading dock sort of situation area, and there's this ginormous kyber crystal. Okay, so my understanding, and again, I have not seen Clone Wars, which I know has like some kyber crystal stuff and building of lightsabers and stuff, but I imagine that kyber crystals were small.
Yeah, they're like,
So like,
this
where's
thing is
this
huge.
I mean,
this
crystals
behemoth from?
crystals can kind of grow in any size. Like the place that they go, the planet Ilum, where like most of the Padawans go to get their tiny ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the entire cave is made of crystals. It's kind of like the cave in Half-Blood Prince, the movie,
Okay.
the Crystal Cave, where it's just everywhere. And you've got the little ones that are the chutes, and you've got the ones that you can stand on.
Yeah, but this one's really big.
This one's
Yes.
really big.
And this one was from Jeddah. So
And this one's
it's-
also more like forcibly removed, I'm guessing. Like
Mhm.
as opposed to like a little shard that is calling out to a specific Padawan.
Right.
This is they just ripped it out of the ground.
Okay, question about Jeddah, because like we've definitely heard about Jeddah before. Was that in Rogue One?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I thought. What happened on Jeddah?
Boom.
That's
Okay,
where
that's what I thought. That's
Saw
like where it
dies there.
exploded.
Death Star go
right?
boom.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
that's
where they
that's
got
what I thought. Okay, just checking because
roots.
I knew that Jeddah sounded really familiar and I knew it was a big deal.
Mhm.
And so, okay, great. This thing's being guarded by these like weird ass black trooper things.
The
Death Troopers.
Yes.
I don't like them. They're not good.
No.
Their aim is
But-
still the best though.
Led by a lady though. I was like, yeah, get it, girl.
That was cool.
Mhm.
She sounded a lot like Phasma.
Yes.
Like
it's
a lot.
not her, but it sounds a lot
Yeah, it
like
sounded
her.
a lot like her. Well, you know who I hate more than those guys? Krennic. And we get Krennic mentions here, and like,
Yes.
it was just ridiculous. So throughout all this, the prisoners are like being shuttled back and forth between this like escape pod back,
Yeah.
and the one guy who is such a snark goes, "This is not a very good rescue," and it's like, you're an ungrateful son of a bitch.
I love him so
Okay.
much though.
Like, calm your tits, okay? Anyways, as soon as Sabine and Ezra left Saw with that crystal, I literally wrote, trusting Saw with crystal equals bad plan, IDK. Yeah, not good. And then immediately Saw stuns Sabine and Ezra,
Mhm.
which is like, this is tough. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Then he says, I will do whatever is required to be the victor. And I think that like exactly summarizes who Saw is.
Yes.
Like, there is no other path for him, and there is no other objective. Like, he will win at all cost and at any cost.
Yep.
And that's intense. And then Ezra says, what about doing what's right? And it's like, that just doesn't matter to Saw. Like, it's not about that.
No.
Then he hits Ezra with the Lothal guilt. He's like, well, you know, what if it meant saving Lothal? Like, what if it meant saving your planet? Like, we couldn't save mine.
Yeah.
But like, and that's hard because like we just heard Ezra talk about how much he wants to help Lothal, and like Mon Mothma is clearly not helping him achieve that goal.
Right.
So that's gonna radicalize Ezra. Like, there's no other
He's
way.
trying. Saw is trying.
Saw is trying hard, and like he is getting somewhere. Like,
He is.
anyways,
Doesn't
so
quite
then-
get there though.
No.
Huh?
He doesn't
Ezra's-
quite get there though.
Ezra's
Ezra's
taken
showing a
too
little
many-
maturity.
Yeah. He's like finally listening to Kanan.
I mean, I also feel like his experience with Maul has like just caused him to be more measured.
Hmm.
He's just like, I can't jump into things with both feet anymore because like it could be a trick. Like, I've learned a lot.
He'd still
Yes.
probably
Yeah.
answer Hondo's call no matter what, but
Oh, well, he and Hondo are tight. Like,
Yeah.
They're
they're
bros.
homies for life.
Mhm.
They're like frat bros at this point.
yeah.
So then Saw destabilizes the Kyber crystal. He just like starts shooting shit. I was like, I don't even think you know what you're shooting. You're just shooting. Which was wild. I already knew that Kyber crystal was going to become a bomb. Like, as soon as it started sizzling, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to explode that the Star Destroyer, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Hera saves the day. She comes and saves the kids, gets them all
Mhm.
back, saves the prisoners too. We
Yep.
get Chopper like absolutely bitch slapping a stormtrooper. Just iconic. We get another Ezra awkward wave in this one. It's just like, that's his thing. I can't with him. And then yeah, we get the new rebels at the end with the prisoners, and that wraps up the episode.
Yes.
This one just, again, like the pacing felt weird.
Mhm.
There were a lot of locations, and like I'm not exactly sure what happened in this episode besides Saw trying to radicalize Ezra. Because like
Well,
we saw
yeah.
the Kyber crystal, but clearly it got destroyed. So that's not the one that was used in the Death
Which
Star.
is good. Yeah, they destroyed it, which is
Yes,
really good.
It is really good. No,
Yeah.
that was definitely super good. But I feel like maybe I was just missing more Hera Kanan Zeb in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Did you like
yeah.
Hera and Kanan doing the cloud
The cloud dancing.
like through the fog, the flying
Yes.
in episode 1?
That was cute.
Where he's
That
like,
was
do you
really cute.
do you trust me?
That was yeah.
She's like,
That
yeah.
was so cute. No, she was like, I must trust you a lot. And he goes, I
Yeah.
know you
I
do.
know.
I wrote that down in my notes. I was like,
I
they're
know.
too much. Honestly, like I feel like they're getting so much more overt in how much they love each other in front of people. It's like PDA Central over here.
I know.
Mhm.
Ugh, I'm
The-
all about it.
The
So anyway,
first thing
I think I was
Kanan said
missing-
was, "Where's Hera?"
Yes. Oh my God, I love him. So yeah, I think that's what I was missing in the second one was just like a little bit more like human connection. Because I feel
Mhm.
like we don't get that from Saw. Like
No.
Saw is like a machine.
Yeah.
And like we didn't see much
Mhm.
like Ezra and Sabine arguing about it,
Right.
which I feel like maybe that's what was missing. Maybe I needed Ezra and Sabine to like talk about it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
That would have been
anyways,
good.
overall, yeah,
It's
overall I like him
interesting
though.
that you said he's becoming more of a machine because then in Rogue One he's
Well, of course.
very cyborged.
Yeah, of course.
But we will
Like
get
he's
to that
getting
in just
there.
a couple minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we
So
will.
anyways, those were great. I was surprised to see another two-parter right after a two-parter.
Mhm.
There's a lot of arcs like that in season 4.
Yeah, season 4 is
Interesting.
very arc centric.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm liking it. I dig it. I feel like they can expand the side quests that were going on a little bit more that way.
Hmm.
Not very many side quests left. It's going to be like straight narrative pretty much through season 4.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I hope the
Mhm.
narrative is all Hera and Kanan planning their space wedding. Right? That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
No spoilers.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. I think we're ready to head into our 6th holocron, which is Conjecture at the Cantina, or the Finer Things Club, if you will. This is where we
Oh.
ask our questions about the episode and explore some wider Star Wars lore together. I'm going to start us out with my usual, what did Dave Filoni and crew have to say about these episodes? Well, they talked a lot about Saw, which is what we're going to cover in Anders' question section. So I wanted to go more in a different direction. Rebels Recon host Andy Gutierrez asked Dave Filoni if the goal was always to have Rebels sync up with the films.
Mm.
And Filoni was like, nah. It's like that wasn't their distinct goal when they created the series. It just happened that way because Rogue One came out, so they were trying a little harder to sync up with the films. But that just like, it wasn't completely on their radar. They're like, oh yay, we can use Saw. This is cool. Like, we have a reason to use Saw, and we can get Forrest Whitaker. Like, amazing. They knew they had to match certain things from Rogue One and A New Hope eventually, but he also wanted to avoid that as much as he could because he wants these characters to have their independent story arcs. He wants them to have their own path and their own destiny, which I really appreciate. Like, yes, we like seeing our callbacks, but then we also love when Ezra and Sabine get to go on an adventure and wave awkwardly and Sabine punches Ezra in the shoulder. Like, that's what we want. And it's adorable. So thank you, Dave Filoni, for like being like, no, I want to focus on my characters.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, like, I feel like at the beginning of Rebels, we saw so many, like, we saw Leia. And I feel like we haven't had a lot of that. Like, obviously we just saw Obi-Wan, but like they could have put a lot more Leia in here if they had wanted to.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
They mostly used Maul, which was a good choice because he isn't in the films like at all.
Yeah.
And same with Saw. I mean, he's a good choice because he's only in Rogue One, so people aren't as familiar with him.
Right.
So getting into that, actually, so this is not the first time we've seen Saw in Rebels, and we are very, very close to the events of Rogue One. We're like probably only a few months away at this point, definitely less than a year. Now, but Saw is a character who's actually got a very, very compelling story, but he's never really had a central like movie or a central thing that was just about him. So his story is extremely piecemeal. Most people, myself included, the first time I ever met Saw was in Rogue One because I hadn't watched Clone Wars yet at that point. And just so everyone knows, Rogue One premiered during the break in the middle of season 3 of Rebels. So actually between when they met Maul on Dathomir and had like the witches and the altar, and Saw on Geonosis. That's when Rogue One actually came out. And like Flo, you were kind of saying earlier, like timeline a little bit, not sure where are we? So I mean, Saw's story is told very sporadically throughout movies, a couple of novels, several comics, at least one video game, and 3 television series.
Yeah.
Is where it is. So I thought it might just be a good idea to do a rundown of his full timeline, considering this is pretty much the point we're at where it's just about to come to an end.
Good idea.
So we start out, Colleen, you're going to help me out with this, right? Because it's actually, it is, considering how you see him in very small moments, it is a very long and extensive story. So we start out all the way back in Clone Wars.
Yes, Flo, interject if you need to. Be like, what the fuck is happening?
Have you ever heard me not interject? That's who I am. Go on.
All right, so we go all the way back to Clone Wars. We've mentioned this a few times. Saw and his sister Steela are back on their home planet of Onderon. They are being trained by Ahsoka because they have reached out to the Republic for help in resisting the Separatists. The droids are trying to take over their homeworld, and they're actually pretty good. Steela is definitely the better fighter of the two, and she is kind of the commander.
The badass, and she's really hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's gorgeous. During one battle though, Saw shoots down a droid gunship, and the resulting crash causes Steela to fall to her death off the side of a cliff. And this is the start of it all. He is so guilt-ridden that he caused this, and he's not interested in anyone like comforting him at her funeral, which was big. Like it was attended by a lot of people. Like Ahsoka's trying to console him, and he's like, I don't care about this. I am now committed to fighting evil in all of its forms. Wherever I see it, I'm going to wipe it out.
Yep. Ahsoka and Saw kind of had a little thing, which is interesting.
Yeah, they were flirty.
This is Saw, like what like Ahsoka is this?
This is
Clone Wars season 5.
Oh, okay. So it's not like tiny tube top season 1 Ahsoka.
No, it's older. Like just beyond that.
Okay.
And Saw's very young at this point too. Like he's like either a late teen or early 20s. So he's very young.
So they're not far at all in age.
No.
They're not that far off in age.
Got it.
There's a lot of flirting that goes on in that arc between like Saw and Steela and freaking Ahsoka and oh God, what is her freaking separatist boyfriend's name?
Yeah.
I'm blanking completely. I will probably remember it later, much to my chagrin. But yeah, there's a lot of inter-flirting going on and jealousy going on, and it's just a lot of drama.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a very good arc. It is an excellent, excellent arc. Okay, here we go. Next, Saw remained like somewhat involved in the Clone Wars. Like he's still fighting against separatist forces on Onderon, even using Anakin's fulcrum frequency to keep in contact. They mention it. Anakin's like, well, it could be Saw, I guess, calling me. When Ahsoka uses the channel to contact Anakin during season 7, Anakin thinks that it's Saw. He's like, oh yeah, Saw's calling. I wonder what's going on.
Gotta be Saw.
Yeah,
but it's Ahsoka,
totally.
and she's talking about Mandalore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, and then this. After the Republic fell and the Empire rose, Saw remained focused on fighting evil and resisting tyranny. This resulted in the Empire branding him and his group as insurgents against the Empire, because he just saw the Empire as the new separatists. He's like, fuck this. This is not the Republic anymore. This isn't people trying to help us. It's just another evil force that's coming in. Clone Force 99, our Bad Batch boys, were sent to deal with Saw and the insurgents, but most of them were like, nah, we're not going to wipe out Saw and his group of people because they're mostly civilians.
Yeah, they were like refugees in a camp.
Yeah,
and they went in expecting soldiers.
And
it was I just want to put it out there, like Saw would have killed them.
The Bad Batch, they were kind of friendly at this point.
I'm saying if Saw and the Bad Batch were reversed, like Saw would easily kill refugees.
Yeah. Yes.
Later,
now,
at this point, probably
at this
not.
Point, maybe
at
not.
this point, maybe not quite so much.
Our current Saw would be like, refugees, let's blow them up.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So he makes it out because the Bad Batch is like, nah, we're not doing that.
Too. Yeah, he wasn't there.
So Saw continues the fight. He gets bolder and bolder in his tactics. He eventually gets branded as one of the more dangerous criminals in the galaxy, coming into conflict with none other than Agent Callus. He also joins up with an arms smuggling ring that is trying to get weapons to like small insurgent cells, which turns out to be a front by Director Krennic, who is using the small insurgencies as excuses for the Empire to like swoop in and just take over the planet and all of its resources, mostly worlds that have a lot of construction resources that they need for the Death Star. The group's leader, whose name is Obit, eventually catches on, and Saw convinces him to fight back against the Empire when they come, including Tarkin, comes to arrest him. But Obit and Saw do manage to escape.
Drama, so much drama here. Saw causes so many problems.
Saw causes so many problems. He's realized that he was secretly working for the Empire and helping them out, which is another big psychological blow.
Yeah, poor Saw. Okay, so Obit was acquainted with the Ursos. So this is Jin's family. And when Lyra asked for his help getting them off of Coruscant, he sent Saw in his place. So Saw got the family off the capital planet, helped them resettle at that farm that we see at the start of Rogue One. So they have this connection. And this is where, they set up their little beacon thing so that Saw can come and find Jin.
Yeah. Then at some point, Saw and his partisans, they end up on Kashyyyk, trying to help out the Wookiees, and he meets Cal Kestis. So this is the events of Jedi Fallen Order. They are able to help each other out, but Saw and most of his group are just forced to flee. Like they get run off by the Empire. Not before Sal offered Cal a place. Like, yo, it would be cool to have a Jedi working with us, and Cal turns him down. Which Saw's not that good at rejection.
Yeah, I feel like Saw can't take the no.
Him and Maul are just like, no.
No.
Lots of big personalities happening in those characters. Okay, so at the start of Rogue One, Lyra Urso is killed and Galen is abducted. Saw answers their call, though, for help. He takes in the orphan Jin and, of course, turns her into a terrorist, because that's what you do. He raises her amongst his ever-changing crew. Like, she's at least there for a while, referring to her only as his daughter, which is kind of cute, but also terrorist. As he continued to fight, Saw continued to grow more and more radical. Well, yeah, he was good to Jin. Like he
was
did
good
save
to
her and he helped raise her, but like who?
Yeah. But so as Jin grows up, he's still having all of his missions. He's coordinating out of his home base, and he does become very, very protective of her. And as a result, though, he also starts getting really, really paranoid because he wants to protect her. He does love her in his way, but so many people in his group are so radicalized that if they realized this is Galen Erso, that Imperial weapons designer's daughter, they would not hesitate to use her as leverage in some way. So he is trying to protect her from that.
Yeah.
You know what this relationship kind of reminds me of?
What?
Just like listening to you guys talk, the Saw taking care of Jin as an orphan kind of reminds me of Yondu taking care of Star-Lord.
Oh, yes.
Kinda,
It's just like these like unlikely, like very morally gray dads, like just raising these kids who like they do love in their own way, but like are also not the most fit parents.
Nope, as evidenced by our next event here. So during one mission, Jin is 16. She's a very accomplished slicer. Check out the book Rebel Rising to get a lot more about Jin and her upbringing. But during an op, he tells her things are kind of going wrong. So he's like, yo, hide in this bunker, wait until morning. And when she comes out, she literally has nothing except a knife to protect herself. She comes out in the morning and he's gone. And he will never come back for her.
He is concerned about her and is like, if she stays with me.
Yeah. He's kind of like, I could go back, but she's probably better off without me.
Yeah.
And
which
justifies to himself.
Yeah. Saw does that a lot. He has to justify a lot of his actions to himself.
Yeah, including this next one.
Yeah, this one is this is from the book Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Saw orchestrated the bombing that killed off one of the Moffs, and this is Koresh Panaka, who's from Naboo. You might recognize him from The Phantom Menace. He is like the captain who is taking care of Amidala in The Phantom Menace.
So he becomes
and this
an
is why
Imperial Moff.
he becomes an Imperial Moff. This is why he is not in the other two prequel movies.
Bummer.
So Saw kills him in an explosion, very nearly killing Leia. Like he almost does kill Leia, who was just meeting with him because she just went there randomly to go meet with the Moff. But
she was talking about like working conditions in the factory.
Yes, he recognized her. Like she looks too much like Amidala. So it's good that Saw killed him, but also he almost did kill Leia too.
Yeah, she like says, "Okay, thanks for meeting with me." Turns and the room blows up.
Yeah. Wild shit.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Moff. He was. It sounds like so bad to say, but like he was one of the good ones. Like he was legitimately like interested in improving working conditions anywhere he could, and like helping the people of Naboo from inside that system.
Going to turn in Leia, like he was going to tell.
Yeah, he would have been like. So not long after that is actually we meet Saw and Geonosis during Rebels season 3. And we see how far he's kind of gone down this path into madness where he's just like straight up willing to take out the last of the Geonosians with no thought to anything else other than you're a bug. I want to squash you.
Oh, poor Click.
Freaking horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then just a few months later, we get these episodes. He's even more kind of willing to sacrifice anybody and anything if he gets his results.
Yeah.
It's just not. He's just done basically at this point, especially in a series like Star Wars. Like you're not going to live very much longer if you turn into this, and you're supposed to be a good guy. During the next few months, he would undertake a mission to blow up an Imperial station at Duma 4 and make his way to Jeddah, which is where he ends up at the very beginning of Rogue One. The formal Rebel Alliance has officially cut ties with him because he's a terrorist, y'all. He's lost his leg using that breather. He's drawn to Jeddah due to the connection with the Kyber crystals and the secret shipments the Empire was making. So he's like trying to find out where they could be. He doesn't go to Ilum because it's not as like civilized as Jeddah. Like Jeddah just has a lot of people, so he can actually go and do shit there.
Yeah.
It's here where he gets Galen's message from Bodhi after some torture. We have he tortures poor Bodhi, who just wants to defect. God damn it. Saw is reunited with Jin and ultimately leads to his death during the test blast of the Death Star.
Yeah, it's a tough way to go.
Tough way to go.
It's like, did he have to die here? Like, he just kind of, it seems very strange for Saw to just be like, I'm done.
Yeah, at the same time though, like he
is tired as fuck. Like,
he's tired as fuck, and he's not moving that fast to get to a ship.
No, they'd have to carry him.
But yeah, so I mean, Saw, if you actually did like a super cut of all of his stuff, it's a very dramatic. I think it's a really compelling story. He's a very interesting character. You just get it in like these little bits all over the place that you don't necessarily realize how much he evolves over the course of the saga.
Yeah, you should do a Saw Gerrera meet and greet at Disneyland. Just like him hooked up to all the machines, and then you can sit and be tortured
by Borgullet.
That'd be great. I would pay.
No, you would want young Saw. He's hot.
That's fair. I do actually want that. Okay. You've convinced me.
He is super hot in the Clone Wars. I'm like, that is Saw Gerrera.
Honestly, like, he was still decently attractive in this one.
Oh yeah. Forrest Whitaker is a very attractive man.
Yeah, he was okay. Rogue One, not so much, but here he was fine.
Rogue One is basically when he has completely lost it.
Yeah, he's done at that point.
He thinks everyone is trying to kill him at this point, which is kind of fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because they kind of are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
they probably are.
All right, guys, that is where we're going to wrap it up for today. Tune in with us next time as we continue our season 4 coverage and head back to Lothal. Maybe we've said that a few times now and it never seems to work out, but you know.
I'm not even believing y'all anymore. I'm just like, we're never going back to Lothal.
But we may have the help of someone with a bit of familiar face. Until
if
then,
it is Pigman, I swear to God. I hate you.
I don't think it's...
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
But until then, please follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us those 5-star reviews. Check out our website at bohemiangeekstudies.com, where you can watch all of our episodes. Enjoy Colleen's Book Corner, where she is reviewing Star Wars literature. And you guys follow us on social media. Send us an email. You can, and as always, keep telling other Nerdy Knights to join us. It does help. You can also head over to ForgottenEntertainment.com, check out all the offerings from the Forgotten Entertainment family, including yet another Star Wars podcast where we examine different facets of Star Wars canon, and we are about to sink our teeth into Star Wars visions. Hope next week or two, probably.
I started watching.
Yay!
I don't know how I feel about it yet. I need to give it a couple more episodes, I think.
Okay.
It's wild. Like, it's very different. It's very Star Wars, but it's very different.
I have a lot of thoughts comparing it to What If. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point.
I could totally see that. Okay, I'll have to listen to yet another Star Wars podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes. But until next time, Kyber crystals up and keep those episodes streaming. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
everybody.
Say bye, everyone.
Bye.